Welcome to the Italianpreneur podcast. I'm your host, Pietro Ferracini, a startup founder with a passion for practical knowledge. Join me in weekly conversations with young and experienced entrepreneurs where we learn from their mistakes. Please welcome Johannes Trebes, a 24 years old entrepreneur with a passion for innovation and impact-driven startups. He is the business developer at Urban Phonics, the company working on a new way of farming, and the co-founder at Viable, the platform for indigenous artisans. Thanks for coming
Indeed.
here, Johannes.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Where does this podcast find you?
I'm actually here in Rosmalen, it's called. It's a small town in the Netherlands. So currently in my joggings with a nice a nice outfit here to be chill, to be comfortable while I work. So
Fantastic.
yeah, man.
Fantastic. Great. Then let's kick in with the first question. So, for those new to the concept, what is your urban farming and which technologies do you see having the most impact in the future?
Well, urban farming as such is about technology. So if you can simplify it in one word, is technology that helps people to produce their own food basically. So you might know that we're running out of land. People hate pesticides. They want to grab their own lettuce and produce it themselves. So urban farming literally allows you to do that in a very natural way, or at least that's what we're promoting, with a different focus as well. So it's not about growth and kilograms and more kilograms, but it's about micro stuff. So really focusing on the nutrients you're producing, really focusing on the way the crop is being fed, um, and also the conditions where the crops actually grow. So so yes, it's also a way of tackling a problem, a worldwide problem, overpopulation, for instance. So with urban farming, together with, of course, traditional farming methods and new initiatives such as regenerative agriculture, so you can simply unite them and create a holistic approach to this kind of problematics. So yeah,
Gotcha. Gotcha.
that's basically what urban farming is to me. Yeah.
And then which technologies do you see having the most impact in the future in the field of urban farming?
In the field of urban farming, I see automation as being a key component. So technology related to making the life of the urban farming easier. Also, like you're seeing more and more like platforms now with coronavirus, you see that farming is becoming a service. So instead of people going to the market is literally coming to the people. And this is also like about pivoting a little bit and seeing where the market is going, so you can fit your business model to cover for that need. So now you see a lot of people staying at home. They don't want to go like every time to the supermarket, so they just have this option in their app, and they say like, "Hey, let's order some lettuces or some salads." I don't know.
Great. Really interesting. Really interesting. And then let's ask you more of a personal question. So I wonder, what does entrepreneurship mean to you in your life?
In my life, well, I'm not like quite the experienced and seasoned entrepreneur, so I can talk from my very short experience as well. Um, I believe like entrepreneurship is about taking action towards something that you actually care and like, and you can have fun with. Uh, for me, it was farming. It was about recycling, and also in this case, fashion and indigenous tribes, because I really wanted to go to these locations and meet like different people that create stuff. So for me, this was my main motivation to start Muzu in the first place. And
Yeah,
Muzu, yeah, it was the first company actually I built. I haven't actually built like a lot of them, just one, but it failed unfortunately. And yeah, there are
But
different reasons.
great. Well, I mean, let's say that more than 90% of all startups fail, so we don't have
Yeah.
to drag
No, no.
ourselves down, you know.
No, no, indeed not. I think the
But
opposite. The
exactly the
opposite.
opposite. And why don't you tell us in a few lines what Muzu was and yeah, well, what is your story?
Well, Musu started as an idea of a friend of mine of commercializing indigenous products, basically, in the European market. But this was already being done like on a massive scale.
Yep.
So we tried to like give it a more sustainable focus. Um, and basically, it was about trying to make the story pretty. So instead of just selling bags, we wanted to sell a story. So we got involved with the weavers, so the ladies that actually like knit by hand the products. You create a story around it, and you also try to benefit as much as possible the creators of these products. And yes, the idea was to simply connect artisans with people that demand this kind of product. But we had to stop because of some deviations on the founders' long-term plans, so to speak, if I
Yes.
can name it in this way. And yeah, we had to part away, and this didn't go as planned. But at last, like we were able to close it down and start a new idea. So I think basically this is how it goes.
Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. So, and then my follow-up question was, what is your biggest fuck up? So, would you describe that this problem at the end was the biggest fuck up, or there's something else that you feel that, you know, really was a problem in your first business?
Yeah, I think like if I could go back, I wouldn't change anything, of course, because you learn from this kind of mistakes. But if you see the biggest fuck up was not listening and not seeing the signs or believing too hard that your idea was the right one and that you want to continue as hard as possible on that single idea and not listening to the ones uh, giving you advice and telling you to not continue that. So yes, not listening would be the first fuck up, and of course that comes together with avoiding red flags. So very noticeable red flags, and not taking action upon them at the moment. So yes, that led actually to the company being closed.
Gotcha,
So yeah.
gotcha. So, as they say, fall in love with the solution, well, with the problem, don't fall in love with the solution, right?
Indeed, indeed. So that's why I decided to continue it because I really believe in the idea, and and yes, now we have also a new co-founder, which actually brings the balance back to the company that we lost. Um, also expands the horizon, so to speak.
Gotcha,
So it
gotcha.
makes it first more viable to develop the idea, and it makes it even more fun and more relaxed than it was before.
Great.
Yeah.
Very happy to know that. Uh, let's move on. So, I know you're getting involved in a new innovative way to bring nutrition back to our plants. Can you tell us a bit
All
more
right.
about
Yeah. So well, that's going back to Phonics, the vertical farming startup. Uh, it's about trying to bring a specific component which we found in the Amazons, so in the jungle basically, during one of our trips to a specific location. It's called Canaima, and there like it all started to come together because we were sitting in this hotel, and you had this waiter which was serving us like a glass of water, and the water was brown. So I was with my sister at that time, and she was like, "Well, I did not actually order iced tea, but thanks." But the waiter just laughed and said, "Like, hey, yo, this is not iced tea. This is just simple water." My sister was like, "Really? Yeah, okay, cool." But then he tried to explain to us why the water was actually brown, and it was because they literally extract it from the river. So they filter it, and once they filter it, they just serve it very cold to their guests, and that's what you drink. And he claimed, like, yeah, this has been in my family for years. We drink this every day, and it has health benefits. And there, my sister was like, yeah, you're, of course, everyone says that, like, yeah. But we actually started noticing. At the time, we did not know, but after 2 weeks, like, we saw some little very very small cues about this health benefits that he had said. So, for instance, our nails were a bit thicker, our skin was actually softer. Because, for instance, I suffer from dermatitis, I think it's called. I get very dry skin. So with this water, actually, it got better, and also your hair was a bit thicker. So you could see like small changes related to the consumption of that specific water at that specific location. So my father was actually impressed by this, and he started investigating, and he came up with a conclusion that by mimicking nature and by like literally applying reverse engineering, the logic guided him through a story that makes sense. And he tried, what he did is to bring the story to the Netherlands and start this urban farming company.
Fantastic. Fantastic. That's a beautiful story. So in brief, you're literally trying to reverse engineer nature to bring nutrients back to our farms, and especially, yes, vertical farming and urban farming
Yeah,
specifically.
exactly. So we bring a component called nakar. So we created nakar, and this nakar is the, let's say, the Coca-Cola formula
Yes.
of urban phonics, and we implemented in various projects. So not only on urban farming, but also on water, cleaning, sanitation, and also for creating like vegetable chips. And from vegetable chips, you use waste with nakar, so you have nutritious chips, so to speak. And also now in different body applications. So in pharma, for instance.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. I can totally see that. Great. And then you mentioned your father, right?
Mhm.
So who is your father and how much of your entrepreneurial spirit comes from him?
Well, my father is called Johannes Trebes. He is a serial entrepreneur. Basically, he started very young doing consultancy and some sales from the Netherlands to Venezuela, where I was born. Um, and he has, well, with the experience and different years of consultancy, he has met a lot of cool people. And these cool people have amazing ideas, and together they have started building up ventures around these ideas, validated them, and brought them actually to the market. So he's, yeah, kind of the inspiration for me to start working on entrepreneurship, and because I see all the fun he has by building up these projects and traveling to the countries where he actually implements them. So I thought to myself, well, why not? Let's start this way and see if it fits. And if not, I always have corporate. So
You can always go there. But so far from the
yeah, you
enthusiasm
can
that
always
you,
switch.
yeah, and so far from the enthusiasm that you're bringing here to me, like, and to our audience, I can see that it's working. Like, following the path of your father seems to be a good start for you, a good way of doing things. So I'm really pleased to see that.
Yes, yes, no.
All right, all
Yes, on the side that I'm having a lot of, yeah, a lot of freedom to, yeah, to develop my own ideas. No, because money is short, of course, in the beginning. So you have to try to hustle your way up. Um, and you can always fail. Basically, you can always have that option.
Yeah.
So yeah, fear of failure is always there. Uh, but yeah, I think at last, what you learn and what you obtain from actually starting and doing it is far more valuable than any job that you might take upstream. You know.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, yeah, I completely agree with you that the amount of learning that you get from your failures and from just being on your own, it's invaluable. Invaluable.
True.
Amazing. Amazing. So, talking about startups, what is your definition of a startup and what does it take to become an entrepreneur?
A startup. A startup is, I think, it's an idea uh, which has come to life basically, um, with a very small amount of resources, uh, a very tight knit team in the beginning. Um, yes, and those two people plus the idea is what makes the startup itself. So so yeah, that combination, I guess.
And if you would say, what is the one attribute that an entrepreneur needs to have?
An attribute. You mean personal attribute, right?
Exactly.
Consistency, I would say, because you need to actually believe that what you're doing is the correct way of doing it. Because otherwise, you might deviate from your own vision, and that's never good. So being consistent, it's what gets you where you want to get. Um, yes, yes, consistency is the word.
Great, great. Yeah, yeah. Fantastic. Then talking about Muzu, your first startup, what are the three most
Hmm.
impactful lessons that you learn while working on that startup?
I have the first one would be simply it's harder than it looks. So everyone wants to start like their own business. Uh, but yeah, it's harder than it looks. It's more expensive than it looks, and it takes more time than it looks. So those would be the three learnings I got first sight.
Fantastic, fantastic. Yeah, I can relate. I can relate.
Nice.
And then now, in your new adventures,
Mhm.
what is it currently holding you back, stopping you from going forward?
Um, I would say knowledge. I I came to, well, I actually studied in a university to get the knowledge that I would use now, but I'm noticing pretty quickly that, of course, university can't teach you all, and neither can a mentor or your father or your family. So you miss a lot of information. So therefore, I believe knowledge on, for instance, how to look up funding, or how to build the perfect pitch deck. That kind of little tweaks that make the idea actually go live. So that kind of knowledge is what's holding me back from progress. Uh, Nevertheless, you can always find a solution for what's holding you back. So that's what I'm currently doing.
Got it, got it. Really interesting, really interesting. We always need to keep learning. It's very important. We need to be a long life learner. And talking about that, what advice would you give to a young man with a dream of building his own company?
Well, that's actually a pretty difficult one, I would say, because every story is different. So to give advice based on my own experience could be even ill advice. So I would just say the cliche things, such as just start, uh, and do your own. Like don't worry about what other people do, although it's difficult, because you're always seeing what others people do and comparing yourself to the progress of others. And this actually doesn't make any sense because you're wasting basically your time by doing that instead of actually doing what you should be doing. So advice actually to myself. And if others hear it and agree, then cool.
Great, great. But it's true, true. Great advice. I believe in that personally. Well, Johannes, thank you for taking the time to share your entrepreneurial experience and your passion with
You're
us
welcome.
to inspire future generations. And I wish you the best of luck to have a lot of new amazing adventures in the future.
No, man. Thank you for this opportunity. I really hope the Italianpreneur goes like boom, goes up. Let's see. Thanks for the
Great.
invitation, man.
Well, it was lovely. Thank you.
Have a
See you
nice,
soon.
have a nice day, man.
You too.
Bye.
For the YouTube people, make sure to give a big thumbs up and turn on that notification bell. Subscribe to the channel and follow the Italianpreneur on social media and join our amazing startup community on Slack, where you get the chance to meet the podcast guests as well as entrepreneurs from all over the world. This show is made possible by Patreon supporters. If you want to become one, follow the link. If you found this interview inspirational, I would appreciate a share. Stay tuned. I'll see you next week.